So hello everybody, welcome back. I wanted to talk to you about data that you're probably not calculating right, or you're probably, misinterpreting. And so don't, you know, yeah. So grab your coffee, and I hope that this is helpful somehow. And if you wanted to share one with me while you're at it, links for that down below. So now I'm going to talk to you about cities and hard times and good times. And something that you might want to reconsider in terms of, everything. So you have a city A and you have a city B. And I had to do research for this one, by the way. I use the same cities that I used to live when I was little. My city and one that I used to live when I was little, because I used to travel a lot during these two cities. So last century, going from this city to that city, it used to take 13 days. Yes, 13 and sometimes 14 and sometimes more. But the fastest that you could get from city A to city B was 13 days. And that was you rushing it like crazy. Like it was almost like you thinking speed of light or something. And it's insane. Because this trip takes roughly 2.5 hours, and sometimes if you rush it, 2 hours by car. And so I'm kind of like, right. So I'm thinking, okay, so what does that mean? And did I do something like wrong calculations or something? Because here's the deal. According to, the velocity math, my mom used to drive, like 120 kilometers per hour or something like that. And, going there, and that's why I said that it is 230 kilometers, roughly. But the thing is that according to Google, this city, between these two cities, the distance is 13 kilometers. And so I noticed that in the maps from old days, by the way, maps from today, they don't have that. But maps from old days, they had different settings from distances, meaning they had a distance that was sort of like the one that Google had, because Google says it is 13 kilometers. But if it really was 13 kilometers from here to here, you traveling so that you could get here, 13 kilometers, it should be distance that I can just walk on a daily basis. Because take a look, even in the old days, if it took 13 days to do this, it was an average of 15 kilometers. That means that in less than 1 day, I should be able to reach this destination. So what are the implications of this? You are probably misunderstanding distances and time. And you are also probably miscalculating resources in terms of fuel and in terms of stops that you're going to need, and resting spaces, and a bunch of other things. So let me explain this. In a century ago, if you were going from this city to this city, there will be at least if you took 13 days, that means that you need at least 14 towns so that you can stop and rest and get a hotel, or at least, an inn, because, in these places that are small towns, you're probably not going to get a hotel, you're probably going to get inns. So you need 14 inns from city A to city B during hard times, as in 1 century ago. What happens if you need to go back to that scenario in which, for whatever reason, there is no car or no fuel and no rapid transportation, and you need to go back to this? See, when you got the car and now you take 2 hours, the 14 inns that were here and the 14 towns that were here, people will probably go, no, I'm broke, nobody's here, so I'm leaving. So these 14 towns that were here are probably going to be only 1 or 2 and 1 or 2. But the rest of the towns will be gone because there is no people. There is no movement of people from here to here. So several things happened. Number one, no towns means that these areas are not going to be safe anymore. See, if you were to be, like I said, 50 years ago or something like that, and you had an accident or something in these areas, you will probably have a lot of help, or at least some sort of doctor or something very close by. But now you don't. And during hard times, this is going to be an issue, because during hard times, you will have to go back to that timing and that setup of traveling. Only there are no inns. There is nothing, because people here are either gangs that are, gangs right here on the border and right here on the border, or they are non-existent. In fact, this has happened a lot. I have mentioned this in my books, and I have mentioned this, I think, in another videos. There are roads that haven't had a single car in over 100 days. 100 days in which the roads had not one person going through them. The reason being that everyone is trying to get here or here, because people are here or here. People are not in the 14 towns that are in the middle. And during hard times, if you want to go from here to here, you will need to go through all of this distance, and you will have to take this time, as in 15 kilometers per day, whatever timing that is according to you, and you will take this time, not 2 hours. It will be 13 days, and that's you rushing it. So, several things that you are to notice here. If you are going to travel, the road, the distances that you are making through the map are not the road distance. Because you going 230 kilometers by road is not the same as the map that is just 13. And on the map, you are not going to see the height of the road, as in, are you in a mountain? Are you in a valley? Are you in a flat area? Or anything like that. You will also see no tunnels, no bridges, and you will not see issues related to gangs, stops, accidents, and all kinds of things. And you see, during the last century when this thing